Cops are on the way. We gotta move!
All right, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Hedge, where we're 4Gs. We've got God, Game, Guild, and G-rated. So, God, that's pretty obvious, self-explanatory. He's the most important anything ever. Game, tonight's Kerbal Space Program. Guild, the Night Wardens. I hang out with them an awful lot. Pretty good group of guys. Check them out. And G-rated. Keep it clean, please. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to need to do some tweaking because I haven't done Kerbal before. Let's see if I... Oh, it didn't do it like I wanted to. Let's move this over here. We'll do a little bit of dinking around and call that good. And oh, I know. It's because I pushed the wrong button. Let's try it again real quick. Go from that to that. That's the way it works. Okay. Helps if you push the right buttons. Now that I see I'm got my video, I can go watch the chat. And howdy, Samalander. I have been working on, I think it's the same game that I was playing when you were around at Christmas time. I've pretty much done everything you need to do. Now I'm just having fun going to other places. Going to Jool tonight, hopefully. Should be pretty easy. And I think everything is fully upgraded. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And yep. All right. So we've got max everything, which makes it pretty easy actually. Let's go see what contracts we've got active. Explore pole. Where's pole? I'm going to assume it's a moon of Jool, so we're just going to accept it and figure out later where it is. Alright, build a new orbital station around Duna. Yeah, we're not going to Duna or Ike. I'm just not set up to do that right now. Although that one I could do. Build a new station around Bop. That's the big one that I've got. 747,000. This would be nice, but it's pretty easy to get to Gilly. I'm not sure how you say that. Explore Bop, explore Jool, specific orbit of Bop, tundra orbit around Jool, explore pole. So I actually got quite a few and a lot of a lot of reputation here. All right. Let's see what we've got out in space. Actually, I have quite a few. Let's cut down some of the chatter. Let me get my mouse fixed here. Something's going on. All right. All right. Now we knocked out some of the chatter. We've got several bases actually. We've got a base on the Mun. Well, we'll just go visit. Since y'all are joining me for the first time. Wonder if I have any lights here. Not really any lights. So, and it happens to be the dark side of the moon right now. But you can see, pretty standard base. We've got 4 Kerbals. 2 are up there, 2 in here. And if you look over there, what's that? Well, we better go check it out. This is my initial attempt at a lander, and it has another Harful Kerman. Harful was unlucky. You can kind of see it there. The wheels, well, let's just say that he's lucky that it's in more or less one piece. Got going pretty fast and didn't quite land as soft as we needed to. So he struggled his way home with just RCS and a single lander wheel, and I don't have any engineers here that are of sufficient rank to repair it. So yeah, he's kind of stuck. I got that close and decided I was tired. The idea of this pair of vehicles was, let me see if I can go back. If you look really close, I've got on the end of this one a docking clamp. And this one, at some time in the past, had a docking clamp on the underneath. I was going to use a little bit of RCS, just sort of puff up and set it on top. And I didn't didn't calculate my masses right, and the rover doesn't have enough RCS to actually get off the ground. Oh well. So that's the moon base. It's sort of not doing much right now. Then we've got back to the tracking station. We got a Minimus base. Minimus is much funner anyway to put a base on. So we'll take a look at that one. This was my second base. It was, well, actually a fair amount after I got the moon base. This one you can see is significantly different setup. Same sort of deal though. I needed a rover and a lander, a base. This one, however, put the docking clamp on the underside. So now all that I've got to do with my rover, let's see how many people we got here. Got 2 sitting there. I think I've got 2 over in the rover. Oops, it hit a flag. I've got Mildard Kerman, and I guess I only had 3 here. It's nighttime, so everything's not happening. I didn't have nukes at this point. So Mildard, but a docking clamp on top. A, it is much less likely to be bumped off as you're going over terrain, and B, I added little monopropellant engines down here. And so now I've got way more thrust than I need, especially since Minimus has less gravity than the moon. The mun. Moon, mun, potato, potato. So this actually worked pretty well. I've got enough RCS that I can basically fly this thing around Minimus when I'm not on the flats and not have to worry too much about the angles of the ground and whatnot. So that works out pretty well. And I sort of beefed it up. We've got heavy armor plating here, all of the various plates. So this base worked pretty well actually, and I think there is a nearby something else. I think a lander. Yeah, a Minimus lander. I wonder if I can switch to that. Let's see if I can. Yes, Minimus lander. So I put it down close by. I think it's got, yep, we've got a couple more Kerbals there. And I had to do this for a contract, and so it basically is out of fuel. Not quite, but effectively stranded. Can't really do much more. It's got PB nukes, so it's set up well. They're just, not much they can do. I may mount a rescue mission at some point, but I may not. Alright, so I think if I do this, I can go right to the tracking station. I can't. Bummer. I was hoping I could go right to the tracking station. And on to the next one. So I put one on the moon and then on Minimus, and then I thought, I can go to Duna. So if you'll see, I have an actual base on Duna. Come on, Kerbal. Come on, Kerbal, you can do it. All right. And I've decided I like this model. So the Duna base, if you'll notice, it's got little monopropellant engines on my roustabout. Right now everybody's put together, so I've got a couple there and a couple there. Just one there. He's the scientist. I've got some more up here in the well, where are you guys? Oh, they're the ones down in there. So I've got, I think, 3 here. Yep, New Jool, Calorie, and Gilkey. So, Duna base, and at this point I'd refine the design a little bit. I actually had sent this one out before I built the base for Minimus, so you'll note that this one doesn't have any PB nukes either. Lots of batteries, lots of solar panels, lots of RCS fuel. Duna's gravity is low enough that this works. However, Duna was not my last visit. I also visited Dun dun dun. Eve. It's actually really easy to get to Eve and to land on Eve. The hard part's getting away from Eve. So we will go and show you what Eve looks like. Well, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's doable at least. So Eve has something fierce for gravity going on. So when I landed, the problem I've got is that, and while I have what looks to be a lot of fuel, I mean I basically used parachutes and didn't have to use much fuel at all. I didn't land quite flat. You can see I'm actually at a pretty good incline here. And the same basic setup, a docking clamp on the bottom, a roustabout docking clamp. Now here the problem I've got is that those monopropellant engines just don't have enough oomph to get you up off of the ground. And, you know, because the gravity's higher than it is on Kerbal. So I thought, well, I'll just be tricky and I'll set the landing gear up in such a way that I can drop the whole base down on top of the rover. And I was able to do that, and the docking clamps won't engage. So basically my rover is separated and will never be joined up with the main base again. I tried flying this over to where it's flat. I tried lifting the rover up. I tried lots of stuff. I actually can drive around with the base. The problem I run into is that these wheels, if you look at them, are the next to heaviest duty wheels, and the weight of the base, once I set it on the rover, is such that the wheels don't pop, but if I try to stop, the wheels pop. And if you'll imagine on Eve, it doesn't take much of a slope, and you can get a pretty good head of steam. Then you're kind of stuck because you can't turn, you can't go, you can't stop, and pretty soon you get to go about 20 miles an hour or so, and then the wheels just pop anyway. So you're just sort of stuck. As you can see, I've already done quite a bit of the science here, so not much really else to do. And I've got like 3,000 science, so got a driver in front. This is a much better way. You can actually see where you're going that way. So that's the summary of my bases and landers and whatnot. So Salmon are you farming again tonight, or are you on to something different? Don't need that at the moment. Let's see. Ships, stations, several landers I don't really care about. A couple of rovers. Actually, I should rename the one on Eve to be a rover and not a base, but eh. Alright, so now my satellites. I've got one in orbit of Kerbin, just sort of doing its own thing. Got one in orbit of, actually orbit of Ike, not Duna, but it's pretty close. I can't use him to get this orbit, the specific orbit that I'd like to get, because I already have it there. You have to start with a new one. Got a little orbiter running around Minimus. I got a itty bitty orbiter running around the Mun. And then I've got the Roid Grabber. Let's take a look at this guy. Zenning your zombie chickens again. What makes them zombie chickens? If I dare ask. I'm not sure that's a safe thing to ask. So, it's the Roid Grabber because it grabs, well, asteroids. This is a size B asteroid, and I had a mission to put a size B asteroid in orbit of Minimus. So, I did. It actually wasn't that hard. I do ridiculous amounts of delta V. If you can imagine, after grabbing the asteroid, after rendezvousing with the asteroid, grabbing it, and towing it into orbit around Minimus, I still have 7,000. the asteroid adds a lot of mass. So the delta V that I have MWO tomorrow. Zombie eggs are the best eggs. MWO, I will be probably unavailable tomorrow. I may as well tell everybody that's watching, which at the moment is just you. But MWO won't work tomorrow because tomorrow night is Thursday, and the Night Wardens, who I think I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, have a Star Citizen chat. Actually, in the Night Wardens, I'm the game lead for Star Citizen, so I kind of got to be there, and I kind of want to be there. We basically get together and we talk about all things Star Citizen for an hour, and then if more time goes on, we talk about it some more or play or other things. So, um, but yeah, I mean, if you're interested in MWO, at some point, I definitely will play with you. You're always welcome to join the Night Wardens and drop. They got lots of people there, real good bunch of guys. So, and there will be people on. I mean, there will be people on tomorrow doing MWO drops if you want to. If you want to sort of have an automatic guild that you can drop into and have somebody to play with, you know, that'd be a great place to go. All right. So I do have another mission with my Roid grabber. I need to get this asteroid, this particular one, in fact, in orbit of Duna, which is going to take, I think, let's see, it'll take about 300 delta V to break out of Minimus orbit, and then another 1500 to get to Duna, and then maybe another 500 or so to stop. So that's 2300, which leaves me plenty of margin of error. But that's not tonight's task. Tonight's task is all about Jool, the Jool of the Kerbal system. So for Jool, I've got actually two things going on. And I'm learning, slowly but surely, to use the warp and do one thing at a time. Because for a while here, I had like 8 different things going, and I had to only warp a little bit to the next one, and then warp a little bit more to the next one. And so something like this fairly straightforward insertion into Jool's sphere of influence has taken hours and hours of game time because I'm always skipping away to do something else. What is that one? Oh, right. So this is one of my Jool interceptors. It's going to hit in another a little over a year, not quite 2 years. I have a second one that is going to also attempt to intersect with Jool. The problem is that I heard from Scott Manley, no less, that you could spend much less delta V by dipping down into Eve's orbit instead of shooting directly for Jool. Now I spent, I think, around 2,000 delta V, maybe 2,500, to get this one just in a regular Holman transfer orbit to Jool. This one, on the other hand, I spent about, let's see, it takes, I want to say 1,300 to get out of Kerbal, another, I think I spent about 1,500 to get down to Eve, and then used its, what's the effect called? I can't remember the name at the moment, but basically the slingshot effect, if you want to talk about it that way. Both of its gravity and used a little bit of thrust while I was at the periapsis to get us out into an orbit that will hopefully intersect Duna right about here. The thought being that when I intersect Duna, I will use the same slingshot effect to shoot me out, probably meet up with Jool somewhere out in here. Use a little bit of burn, and I'm guessing that when everything is said and done, this one will have gone much further, it will take longer, and I will have spent just as much fuel. It's possible that there's a more efficient way to do it, but yeah, there's an actual term for the effect where you gain orbital velocity from passing behind an orbiting body. I can't think of what it's called at the moment. It's going to drive me nuts. Oh well. So this is the next. It's 37 days away. We've got a maneuver node. So that's the place to go. We're going to go and simply execute that maneuver node. Yeah, I may have to give up and Google. Oh, I must. Now I must know. We've got a little bit of time here. So you can see this is actually a pretty straightforward little... Oh, hey, that's brighter. Easier to see. Pretty straightforward little satellite here. We've got nuclear engine, fuel, RCS staged with some RCS thrusters, and then just a very simplistic probe core, nuke, radio antenna, science instruments. So it's actually pretty light. Means you get lots and lots of delta V without a whole lot of expense. So now I must find out what this effect is. Gravity assist, gravitational slingshot. Oh, that's not the one I'm looking for. It's the periapsis rocket thrust delta V. If I just throw enough words at it, Google will figure out. Perhaps. Maybe that's it. Oberth effect. That's the word I'm looking for. Oberth effect is the effect that rockets have a fixed amount of force, but because you're moving fastest at the perigee, periapsis, you are moving that thrust over a larger distance, and essentially what happens is you get more bang for the buck by thrusting while you're moving more quickly. And so if you are looking to amplify the effect of your rockets, then it's best to be moving fast because they actually do more. You basically piggyback on the kinetic energy of the fuel that's just moving inside the rocket itself. So, which is pretty slick. All right, so, and you can tell I am using MechJeb, thank you very much, to avoid having to do some of the minutia. I really enjoy having the numbers here. It's fairly useful, and it is nice to be able to do this. Execute the next node. Because I've told it exactly what I want to do about it too much. We're actually going to be adjusting here the orbital inclination around the sun to match more closely the plane of the planet Duna, and we'll be firing that off quite shortly, actually. Warp helper is a wonderful thing. This is actually a fairly expensive burn. I didn't quite get the inclination right, and so this is one of the reasons I'm not going to be saving any fuel when everything's said and done. And we'll see how the volume does when the, so heads up, the volume may be loud when this engine thrusts. I'm hoping it's not too bad. That doesn't seem too bad. I always enjoy watching it from here to see the orbit changing, and hopefully when everything's said and done, such a small change, but it's 200 some delta V. We'll have an encounter with Duna, and close enough. We got close. We got close. That's close enough to figure out a encounter. So let's do this. Let's go to the maneuver node editor, and we're going to add in a new maneuver node right about there. 1 day away. That's a good amount of time. And then we're just going to tweak things a little bit. So I want to, what do we got here? Closest approach, that's the target position. I can't tell which one's which. Boy, I'm awfully doggone close to it. Alright, so it looks like I'm a little bit behind. A little bit behind and a little bit... No, the plane's good. So I need to bring it in just a hair. So what we're going to do, go prograde there. We're going to reduce the prograde by just a little bit. Oh, evidently 10 is not a little bit at this point. Oh, so this is the good part about if I'd got the plane right, I wouldn't have to spend very much at all, because you can see I spend 9 delta V and changed from not intersecting at all to a fairly decent intersect. All right. Now that I have the interaction, I can actually go here to Duna, and that's a really odd intersection. All right, see if, yeah, we can do little bigger jumps. Whoops. But not much. All right. That's right, because my focus is there. Let's do this. Yeah, I never did understand that node. Local at SOI exit. Local to bodies. Alright, so I really can go over here. Problem is, if I'm not on the planet itself, so really I think I have to go back to this and set the focus here and do it the harder way. Alright, so we'll take this back down and we will try tweaking the radial a little bit. See if that helps. Nope. I think it's kind of got to be that, and that's all we can do. Alright. So basically, I'm going to be coming in from the outside. By the time this gets over here, this will actually be the outside of the orbit. It kind of looks right now like it's crossing the orbit, but I've got about a quarter of an orbit to go before I actually intersect. So by the time we get there, Duna's basically, my probe is going to be out here, and Duna's basically going to come and zoom by. I'm going to pick up a little bit of energy as I leave, as I start here, and Duna zooms by, and I, relative to Duna, go this direction. It's adding energy to me the whole time, and it's going to kick me out. So once we get a little closer to Duna, I'll be able to adjust that orbit better, but anything I can do now will be cheaper than anything I can do later. So we're going to go ahead and execute the next node to the best of our ability. And by our, I mean MechJeb. I actually got it pretty close with a 200 some last time, only needing a 9 delta V adjustments. Not bad. The big question mark I've got is whether I will be able to actually hit Jool with this guy or not. It's a pretty big question mark. Takes very little burn and beautiful. Stop. We're good. Go prograde. All right. And that's the deal, is that just changing the orientation of my satellite changes the predictions. So the predictions are sensitive, is I suppose a good way to put it at this point. All right, so let's go back to my map view and see what we've got timing-wise. We're going to intersect in about 195 days. This one, well, I know, this is like got a year and a half out, so it's not even close. So let's go and see what we can do to improve our It's 1 year out? I don't believe it. That must be multiple orbits ahead. Ah, yes. And this is the problem of Close Encounters, is it tries to... So we're just going to use the manual warping. And because I'm doing something manually warping, I am going to save. And since we got quite a while to wait, I can really kind of ramp this up a bit. And a bit more. Yeah, this moves in a noticeable amount, but it's actually, and time is really just flying by. And that's getting close to the point where I think I want to look at another course correction for my Duna satellite. Alright, so there's my maneuver node. Set the focus there. And you'll see it's rotated around some. Bring my maneuver node editor back out and see if I can see what I can do here. And now that I'm closer, what I do has less effect. So let's, instead of going prograde retrograde, let's go radial. And even that's having... Oh. I say it should be having some effect, but I see what's going on. It had more effect than I thought. So let's go down to 0.01. Go prograde again. See if... Boy, it is just not letting me change that at all and still encounter... Oops. Didn't mean to grab that. Not sure why that is. It should be able to... I should be able to get that quite a bit closer. If I do that, I miss it altogether. Alright. Well, shoot. I guess we will just not do that maneuver node. And we will just zoom forward a little bit more. La-di-da-di-da. Actually, if you'll see here, I'm actually going to pass outside the orbit of Duna for a little bit. Because I'm getting there before it's going to catch up with me. Alright, let's try it again. See if I can get a maneuver node that will actually do me some good. Let's move that out a little bit. That's an hour and a half. Okay. You can see it's getting closer and closer to parallel. So I'm going to try seems like I should be able to go maneuver node editor. Should be able to go radial just a little bit. And should make a huge difference in... Well, it's saying if I do that, that I miss. Is it that I need to go radial out? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, see, that's pushing it away. What I may need to do is go radial out and retrograde. Nope. Yeah, our ability. That's exactly right. Yeah, I'm the that boss battle with an FTL with the Rebel flagship. That's pretty intense. That's got a lot going on. Kerbal is nice and relaxing. There's no, well, most of the time there's no real urgent anything. I shouldn't have problems with the normal. I really am puzzled why I'm not able to get closer to Duna. Yeah, it's just not working. Well, okay, I give up yet again and wait a little longer. Hopefully not too much longer. Kind of getting to the point where I need to be making course corrections. I mean, I'm a mere 12 days out. Well, no, 30 days out. So you'll see here I'm passing through the orbital position of Duna right about now. And now Duna is going to start catching up with me. And unless I can pass an awful lot closer to Duna, it isn't going to actually be that effective. Alright, we'll try it again. Add another maneuver node. Put focus on the planet. See, I'm thinking that the problem is not so much that the maneuver was bad, it's that the detection and the predictions in Kerbal are just not quite up to snuff. It's got to go radial minus. It's the only thing I really could hope to do here. Do a little bit of that. Do a little bit of that. There we... Nope. I don't understand. Don't understand at all. Why is it not able to... Well, what if I go prograde? Yeah, if I go prograde, and it looks like I can go a lot of prograde. And then go radial minus. There we go. That's what I needed to do. And I'm already up to 117. It's going to be quite a bit more by the time I get there. Yeah, I'm definitely much more familiar with KSP than I was with FTL. I mean, that had only been my third run through, so it definitely was so much to keep track of. You know, plus getting the advice, which was very much appreciated, but you know, it's just one more thing to keep track of. All right, now I can start looking out here, seeing what we got. And what we've got so far is that am I on the wrong side of the planet? I'm effectively breaking my momentum, which means that I'm on the wrong side of the planet. Oh no, that's bad. Well, that just means that the maneuver is getting modified to be on the other side of the planet. That should, of course it doesn't, add more moment. There's no way I'm getting more momentum. I'm sad. I wanted more momentum. And definitely I'm going to get the most momentum from coming in here really tight. And that's really tight. And at best, I'm still braking. Hmm. Yeah, and my periapsis here. Well, okay, my periapsis is still pretty large. And now we get the effects of the normal. It takes so very little adjustment on the normal. Go up a little bit. There we go. 30,000, that's a little too low. And I'm still losing momentum. So it doesn't seem to matter which side of Duna I happen to go on, which I kind of suspected, because I'm basically not doing anything like I'd really wanted to. Oops, wrong way. Let's go in. Oh, normal. Whoa, not nearly that much. And we'll go perhaps a 226. Perhaps it's 87. All right, that looks better. What does that do for my overall? I can change the I can change the radial, but that's about it. Doesn't actually change my overall, and like I say, anything I do is, yeah, I needed to come in behind it. Yeah, nope, that's it exactly. Well, shoot, okay, so that does no good at all for me to rendezvous with Duna, because the only thing it's going to do is slow me down. So we are going to axe this maneuver node and do something slightly different. And I wonder, I don't think I can do this. Yeah, I didn't think so. So I've got to actually do it the hard way. So let's set up a burn for, oh, say an hour from now. We will just do it by hand. Oh, wait, let's try this. Nope, can't do it. MechJeb is a wonderful tool. It does have limits, which I suppose makes it continue to be a fun game. Alright, so what sort of delta V is this going to take? A lot. About 3,000, 3,300. And I really have no idea if I'm going to hit my target or not. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I've got to go more this way. There we go. One nice thing about Jool, it's got a big sphere of influence. It does make it easy to hit. 3,400. Look at all that delta V. Let's see if we can save some of that. Oops. Target closest approach. I'm ahead of it, so I should be able to reduce my... Now wait a second. That's where I am. That's where it is. Well, that didn't gain me anything. Well, that did, though. And I may just call that good. At this point, I'm just really sort of wanting to get the orbiter to there as much as anything. That's what, 3 years away. But that's a pretty good interaction. So we're going to do that. Oh my goodness, that's a huge burn. Fortunately, huge burns go pretty fast with these. So 2/3 of my remaining fuel. That's why I sent 2 probes. Yeah, and I didn't. I just sort of launched when it looked like I might hit Eve. So, and I didn't get quite enough of a boost from Eve. Well, no, Eve was on the exact wrong side to hit. Yeah, Eve was on the exact wrong side of the orbit. It was the opposite side of Jool, and so if I had boosted around Eve to hit Jool, I would have hit where Jool was, 8 years ago. I really do like these little monopropellant engines. They definitely can pack a pretty good punch as far as, well, if you look at the thrust to weight ratio, I mean, it's over 2, and when I drop this tank here, it's going to go up to like 12 or 13, something ridiculous. Oh, nuts. Speaking of which, I forgot to that I had to watch, because I used up half of my monopropellant. That's sad. Oh well. So, that'll hit some 3 years hence. This one is now the next closest one, and the next interesting one. And let's see, whoops, that way around. It's going to encounter in, it's still a year out. You believe that? That little bit here is more than a year away. But instead of doing other things around the solar system, I'm going to simply warp to the sphere of influence transition. Because I really don't want to dink around waiting. Jool really is a long way out there. Not quite as far as Elu. And even at max warp, it takes a while to get more than a year's worth of warping done. How far away are we still? We're still 300 some days out. Alright, let's abort that. Let's see if we can get a little bit better approach. Alright, so we're going to try and come in an awful lot closer to Jool than we are right now. To do that, we need to go retrograde some, and we need to go Retrograde a lot. Radial minus maybe some. Retrograde seems to be doing more per click. Whoa! But that is the problem. You can only do so much before you miss altogether. And so let's do more radial minus. And I have no idea how close I need to be to do arrow braking, but I need to go figure that out. Guessing it's something more on this order. And then there's that issue, running into moons. Oops, lost my chat. Alright, let's see how close I can get. That's 10 minutes. That's so far out still. Let's see. Jool. Arrow braking. Ah, exactly what I'm looking for. Jool atmosphere. 140 or so. Alright, so somewhere between 100 and 130 is what I'm aiming for. And really, it'd be nice if I could get into that orbit. Sure, why not try to do way too much all at once? 1.6. 200. 29. 200. Alright. Let's do the normal just a little bit. So I can do something approximating that angle. It'll probably be in the wrong plane, it won't matter, but yeah, 1.4. So now we can go down a little bit more. 804, 581. Do another couple ticks. 150 and 90. Close enough for now. Because it won't be exactly that by the time everything's said and done anyway. It even puts it on relatively close to that orbit. In the right direction even, I think. Alright, so that's 11 days away. An adjustment of a mere 207 delta V. One day, 432 hours, 1 hour, half hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, the warp is slowing down, 5 minutes, 1 minute, And 30 seconds. And we're almost back to real time. Now we're back to real time. Tells you how short of a thrust this actually is, that it's only going to take 200. It took a little longer than I figured it to. I figured it'd only be a couple seconds, but it turned out to be more like 10 or 12. And here we go, zooming right in. Close enough. You can see how much of a difference the orientation makes at this point. All right, so what sort of an orbit does that say? Whoa, look at that. Look at how much, if we actually made that orbit, how much we would shoot out of the solar system, or Kerbal system, I suppose is more accurate. Because this orbit, actually, if I look at it, is, yep, catching up behind. So that's definitely a good thing to learn. Alright, so we've got another 300 days before we intercept. And this one's got another probably 300 or 500 after that. So, back to warping. Upping the warp. Upping the warp. I mean, you definitely can do other things while you're waiting. I've never gotten to this point in the game before. Usually I get bored before this point. And so I haven't ever tried to do the many multiple things. I know there's some plugins that'll let you set alarms, so you just warp to the next alarm. And you have to remember what you're doing, though, at each alarm. So that's a bit of a difference. We're 80 days out. We're now getting close. You'll see it'll happen when this point touches that point. And now I get to see the Jool system. How neat is that? With all these moons, it'd be pretty easy to change the orbital inclination to be something closer to the plane that I'm after. I hope. Almost there. Stay on target. Stay on target. One thing about Kerbal, it does give you less highlight-worthy moments. Oh, hey, we got somebody new. TKL Milmo. My goodness, I'm going to have to figure out sometime how to say that. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Am I there? Am I there? I think I'm still... What's my sphere of influence? Oh, hey, there we go. Ah, yes, we are officially in Jool's sphere of influence. All right. So now we want to tweak. We want to tweak our orbit a little bit to see if we can change that inclination a little bit. 42 days. Oh my goodness. And I could only do so much because I'm not at the right, not at the ascending node. But I'm so long from being at the ascending node that any little bit I can do here helps, because this is pretty cheap. 21 got me about, what's that, 15 degrees? So, yeah, I mean, I can get I can get quite a bit here. Actually, I should be able to... No. Well, that's a bit much. Let's back that off a little bit. That looks better. Alright. That's reasonably close. For a mere 66, that's not bad. Those are periapsis doing. We need to pull it back in a little bit. We want to hit right around, say, 100 and 110. I got a lot of delta V, so I'm not super worried about the arrow braking. But, you know, anything that you can save is probably good. Whoa! That didn't work. Too much. Ah. Buttons, buttons. Always buttons. Don't want to add a maneuver. I just want to pin the periapsis. I think I pinned the wrong one. No, I didn't. Five, four, three, two, one. Wow, that's sensitive. Alright, so we gained 15 degrees. A little more. That. Wow. There we go. That's a little too low, but we will fix that later. Alright. Let's execute that node. Because it was treasonous. Look at them go. It's like a miniature solar system. Jool's kind of a fun place to go. This is, I got 18 days to periapsis. Come on. Alright. If you look, you'll see we're going to mostly change the normal and a little bit of the prograde. Not much either way, really. Good enough. Alright, so where does that put us? That puts us at 93. We want to go prograde just a hair. I'm not even going to do a maneuver. Just going to do... that. There we go. And now... we'll go retrograde. And we will... 18 days. I think we'll do that manually. Because really what I'd like to do is change the phase, change the inclination right there. 17 days. Boy, that's expensive. Look at that, 2,800. Wow, I did not expect it to be nearly so expensive. All right, not sure what we'll do about that. Let's get into orbit first. Probably part of it is because of my relative velocity. So we're just going to add a maneuver there so we can warp to it. 14, 13, 4 days, 3 days. Getting close. All right. Let's take a look. We still are 700 clicks above. Time to periapsis is a mere 6 minutes, so we're falling rapidly toward Jool. Look at the orbital velocity. Isn't that crazy? I don't think I've seen a number that's high. That's really zooming. We're still 6 minutes away. Five minutes. Jool is just so big. Now we're getting close to atmosphere. All right. Should be hitting atmosphere right about now. There we go. Start bleeding off. Hopefully a lot of this momentum. You can see I'm getting closer and closer to being orbital as opposed to hyperbolic. And there we're orbital. Still falling into the atmosphere. Boy, I hope I didn't bite too deep. I may have to go prograde and burn my way out of here. 108. Maybe not. Wow. That's just, I got my sense of scale all messed up. 109. Just about ready to start ascending here. Might have timed it about right. Believe it or not. Come on, need to get some altitude. 9 million. Still shedding speed like a banshee. That's a lot of debt. I'm not sure I'm going to make it back out of the atmosphere. Really kind of hope to make it back out of the atmosphere. Okay, we'll see in a bit. $112. Well, now we're starting to gain. $114. Whew. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go prograde, I think, at some point. And probably soon. Because as it stands right now, I'm not gonna escape the atmosphere. Boo! Try to take too much of a bite at it. Nope, prograde it is. Finally starting to hit the edge, but I went way past what I needed to. Time to apoapsis. Just a little bit more and I'll be out of the atmosphere. And then I can circularize and it'll all be good. Still shedding speed. 35. $36. $137. Come on, get me out of here. That was not very long. 38. Ah, there we go. Circularize at the next apoapsis. I don't know if you caught it, Salamander, but I actually had to thrust prograde because I got too deep into Jool's atmosphere. "5 minutes. Actually, I have a contract for achieving orbit around Jool, but I have not yet actually achieved. There was a time there where I was orbital, but because I was so deep in the atmosphere, it didn't count. But this shouldn't take too much. And I will be, in fact, orbital. And I was certain I had a contract. Duna, Ike, Duna, Bop, Jilly, Bop, explore Jool. Achieve orbit around Jool. I am orbital. Why is it not giving me the reward? Well, let's get some scientific data. Maybe that will free it up. Gravity scan while in space near Jool. What else can we do? Temperature scan. Should have done that while I was down in the atmosphere. Seismic scan, atmospheric pressure scan. Should have done that while I was down in the atmosphere too. See, that one it gave me, but I'm in orbit around Jool. Oh, and I'm out of charge. That is one drawback to this little design. It doesn't have a lot of battery. So we're just going to help it out by speeding things up a bit. Alright, so now we see if we can make this orbit, which is going to be, yikes, extremely expensive. Alright, so there is my plane change point. 15 degrees. Well, 1700 is at least a little bit cheaper than what does that do for my orbit? It actually expands it some, which is good. Then we'll get on the next go round, we'll hit the periapsis here, and yep. Alright, so this is a periapsis 167. Apple goes up to 1.1 million. We're good. That's a lot of delta V. Alright, now I have to start actually paying attention, because what's going to happen here is that this tank is going to run out, and as soon as it runs out, I need to dump it. Ah, and how is Miss Avenel? Hello, young lady. Speaking of chillins, my little ones will be getting home here just in a few moments. Alright, so now we've got the orbit matched, or the inclination. Close enough, most likely. Let's come down to here, Add a maneuver to set our apoapsis. Another 1800. Man, that's expensive. It's just hard to believe how big Jool is. Go in just a little bit. That looks pretty good. That one will take us an hour to get around. Hour just to get around Jool. Next node. Fortunately, you can warp fairly fast even at relatively low altitudes. So you'll see right now it's 2884. As soon as I dump this one, this should shoot way up. And right about... Well, it was counting on that. That's unfortunate. So I'm not going to have nearly as much delta V left over as I thought. It's telling me I did things. Successfully explored Jool. Cool. I'm not sure why it didn't give me that earlier, but... Let's check out this contract. Get that one I got. Well, why is it not? I must not be close enough. Alright, well let's see what we can fix. Saying that I've still got 0.1 deviation here. Not sure which way though. Okay, so MechJeb's a little bit drunk. It's not going to be able to do that. Alright, so we're going to set a periapsis of 210 clicks at the next apoapsis. And that's a mere 4 hours away. And there it goes. Good enough. Stabilize that. We'll see if it likes it. Stability, we got the orbit. And we're good. Look at the money just rolling in. Alright, we got 900. 900 is all left. Not sure I can make it anywhere on 900. There's Vol, there's Lathe, Tylo, Pole, and Bop. I need to get to Paul or Bop. What can I do here? One thing I might be able to do is... Nope, that's it. That's all the Delta V I have. That's more than all the Delta V I have. Can you believe it? Right, so I did not expect it to be so expensive to maneuver around Jool. I'm just thinking around here. I never had been to Jool before. There's really no hope unless I can interact with Lathe to change my plane. So maybe the thing to do is not to go there. But to go here instead. It's cheaper at least. Easy to get to, hard to get away from. True enough that. True enough that. That gives me a chance of intersecting Lathe's orbit. Or 940. That's basically everything I've got, though. Yeah, I don't got much of any ideas. That's too bad. May just have to leave it there in orbit. It was, as I said, one of two, so... I wonder what the orbital time of Lathe is. Oops, lost my chat again. At least I'm not losing it quite as often. What do we know about Lathe? When Lathe was first discovered, it was not entered in the records because the scientists in charge thought he was looking at Kerbin. Ha! Telescopes don't work that way. The intern was shortly afterwards promoted and moved to the experimental rocket testing program. Rotational period, 2 hour, 2 days. Yeah, but that doesn't tell me what its year is. What if I did something like over here? Yeah, I'm stuck in the same conundrum. Alright, fine. This one's done. Put a fork in it. Ah. There. That's the way to do it. Alright, so, successful first encounter with Jool. Note for next time, not quite so deep. And of course my other probe has not nearly so much, oh, that's right, I was going to rename this one so that I didn't have to deal with it all the time. Since it's done, it's going to become a Debris, because I don't really care about it anymore. So let's go back out to the solar system and pick up the Jool Inner Teeny, which is still a fair amount away, with a lot less delta V. How far away are we? We are a good year out of there. All right. All right, so let's just warp to the transition. I got time to burn. Actually, let's abort that. Let's do a node to match planes with target. Yeah, that would be a wise thing to do. Drastically changes our outlook. It's only a mere 300 days out. The inner planets are zooming around in their courses. I've never been to Drez. Probably Drez. You can see that it's going to be quite an undertaking to get something larger to BOP. I'm supposed to put a station in orbit of BOP. Several weeks. The weeks are counting down. Nothing's happening on Kerbal. It's a very boring place to be. Ah, we're within a week. Down to a day. An hour. 15 minutes. Oh, I'm so nervous what's going to happen. Yeah. Not a whole lot. This burn, since my probe is so small at this point, will take basically nothing. And we're good. Alright, so what sort of an orbit do we have here? Sort of a little bounce, which I think is okay. Still got most of a year. Look at that. 300 days more before we're going to encounter Jool. One good thing about this is I should be much more in line with the planet's speed. Alright, Jool, here I come. I want to visit Bop and Pole. So I really don't actually want to get all that close to Jool this time. Enough to stop me, put me into orbit, but not much more than that. So it should go around this way. If I understand it right. Almost there. All right. Now we have maneuver node 3 days out. That can't be good. Is that actually possible? That can't be possible. I mean, I'll take it. 1100? Oh. I've only got 1200. What in the world's going on? I must be interacting with one of the moons. Comes close enough to Lathe to be captured, but boy, that's pretty expensive. We're going to change to the maneuver node editor. Instead of doing 1100 retrograde, we're going to try changing the radial. See if that's cheaper. I expect it will be. Yeah, see, that's 190. That's a whole lot cheaper. Although I am kind of inclined to try and encounter Lathe now that I know that it's, you know, in the cards. But evidently it's not. So we'll just well, that's not going to happen. Even if it did, it wouldn't help enough. .062. Whoa. 93. 329. Oops, sorry about the mic. Let's try that. $212. So almost orbital as it is. All right. All right, and then we just have some fun watching it come in. This time I'm going to remember to do some science when I'm down in the atmosphere itself. Time to periapsis, 70 days. We got a long way to wait. Here we come, here we come. Look at all those moons. That was a close pass at Bop, even. But I'm just going way too fast to actually try and make orbit. Let's get in the system first. Still dropping like a rock toward Jool. Come on, come on. $500,000. We need to get down to about 140 is when we're going to start to see effects. Uh, 280. 210. 180. 170, getting close. Look how far out that shoots me. And I hear my family coming home. What? I missed? I missed. Well, that can't be. So I don't have enough to stop, so we're just going to try that again. Not quite sure what happened there. Periapsis. 200. Hey, Sammer.
What you doing?
I'm streaming.
What you streaming? Actually doing a streamer.
Could you turn the heater off for me?
Sure.
Thanks.
So you're doing a stream without sound? Or something?
I have sound.
Oh, okay. Do they have sound?
Yes, they have sound.
Do they hear sound?
They hear pretty much what I hear, yes.
Okay.
Good night. We'll try this again, see how it goes. I didn't even look to make sure that my periapsis was in the atmosphere. Yeah, not quite sure what happened. I thought I had it set up so the periapsis was 120, but I guess not. Yeah, ran it again, I end up with a periapsis of 140. Change periapsis. After about, oh, I don't know, 30 seconds. All right, have a good night, Simulander. Good night, dear. I love you. Mm-hmm.